Alright guys, so it's another video. You can consider this a tabletop talk because that's pretty much all I can put it in. So I've been wanting these cards as cards in the One Piece card game, ever since probably like set 2 or 3 because, they would just make sense as either event cards or just character cards. So I only have 5. I only made about 5 into actual cards through the website that lets you make your own custom cards. I've covered that in a previous video. So let's just get right into it. Again, I have 3 events and 2 characters. Hopefully you can, speculate like I have. Hopefully you find some of these, pretty interesting and not too broken. I mean, you probably will, but let's just get right into it and no more talking. So the first one is going to be Buster Call. I've wanted Buster Call as an event card since set 2 because set 2 was where we got introduced to the Navy, and one of the main things that the Navy is known for is straight up just nuking islands, and that is the Buster Call. We've seen it with O'Hara, and we've seen it with, and I think it was, I don't remember which one it was. We've seen them in a couple movies, of course, but Buster Call is like a main thing that the Navy relies on. Sorry, the Marines, that they rely on a lot to just straight up get rid of a problem, and I feel like it'd make a very great event card. And it's just a thing that happens in the show that's just super destructive, and I think that destruction can relate over to the card game in a very big way. So here's the card I made. It'd be a 9-drop for the ability I gave it. First off, you send all character cards and stages on both sides of the field to the trash. So it's a Buster Call, right? It demolishes the island and it demolishes the people that's on the island. So that's why both you and your opponent send the characters on your field and stages that are in play. So it'd be really good. It'd be a really good stage removal card, right? It's one that's not triggerable, like the Yasakani Sacred Jewel or a Tempest Kick for the Cipher Pull. This is just straight up a big event card that gets rid of stages that are being somewhat of a nuisance to you and gets rid of characters. But remember, it gets rid of both sides, so it's not one-sided, right? Even though the Buster Call is by the Marines and it's a one-sided thing that they launch an attack. For card games, you have to balance things. So in order to balance it out, it has to be both sides. So it's your characters, your opponent's characters, your stage, and your opponent's stage. Not to mention, you also lose 2 Dawn. You and your opponent have to send 2 Dawn to the Dawn deck. So it's super destructive. It gets rid of islands. It destroys islands, and it straight up destroys the people on it. So it gets rid of resources. It gets rid of people. It gets rid of the island. It just straight up destroys the island. I guess you could also use this ability for like the thing we saw in the most recent arc of One Piece, the anime, where spoilers if you haven't seen it, they activate just a giant space laser. I don't know, if you're an anime watcher like I am, we haven't known exactly what that space laser is. In the show, they used it to get rid of a kingdom called Lucia, where that just straight up erases the island off the map. The Buster Call just straight up destroys the island. We could see something like that in the future as well. Maybe I'll make a card like that if I make another video. But the Buster Call destroys Dawn, destroys characters, and the stage. Not to mention, it also has an extra ability where you get to deal 1 damage to your opponent's life if you sent 4 or more characters to their trash with this card. So it's a good board wipe, right? That somewhat benefits if they have, a deck that has super easy board fill with no consequences. Like Reiju, right? Reiju gets her big body, her Power Rangers out for pretty much free. And those Power Rangers have very good benefits to them, so it'd be a good board wipe against that. So I would really like to see this as a card because I think it'd be a really good event card, and it'd be just super expensive because it's getting rid of all the stuff in the game pretty much. So cards, Dawn, potential life damaging stuff. So yeah, that'd be the event card for Buster Call. Next up is a character card. It would be Kuma. We have yet to see Kuma as an actual threat card. We have Kuma as like a searcher, right? When he came out for 7 Warlords, he's a 2-drop. We have some of his events. We have some of his abilities as events, right? Like I think Repel is one of them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly, but Kuma does have cards. He has one for Revolutionary Army, the Bello Betty deck, the red one. I just really want him to have like an actual boss card because in the show and in all of One Piece, he is like an absolute unit that deserves to be seen more as a threat. So Kuma is a 10-drop 12k. He is the first character card that cannot attack leaders, and the reason why I gave him this and the reason why he's blue is because I gave him that because he is a big body that has good removal. So once per turn, if your opponent attacks your leader with one of their characters, you can straight up negate the attack because Kuma's known for reflecting damage. He's known for just straight up reflecting stuff. And his other ability is this card can only attack active cards. You send the attacked card to the bottom of the owner's deck. If this card is KO'd in battle, send the attacking card back to the owner's hand. So he's a very big body removal. He's a removal card that has a big body stats. And the reason why I gave him, I guess somewhat easy removal is because he's known for that. He can teleport stuff with his Devil Fruit, which is what we see actually in the most recent arc of One Piece. Like, he straight up just teleports himself. So the teleporting is related to him sending stuff to either the bottom of the deck or to the opponent's hand. And the reflecting part of his Devil Fruit is being able to negate an attack on your leader if it's in a character card. So I tried to relate the card's abilities while also somewhat trying to make it balance to the actual character in the show and what we've seen them do. So that's why Akuma, I gave him the ability to only attack active cards, because if he attacks an active card, he can send it to the bottom of the owner's deck. So it's only good for character cards. That's why I made him only be able to... He can't attack leaders. He's good for dealing with characters, like we've seen him do in the show. How he dealt with Zoro, how he dealt with... what's his face? I don't remember his name. But Kuma's done stuff like that in the show where we've seen his abilities to where it can relate to the card game. I don't know if it seems a little broken. I know I am on the side where Blue has easy removal for no consequences, but that's why I gave him the ability to not be able to attack leaders, because not to mention he's a big body already. That's a 12k coming at your leader. I feel like it's not balanced if you have a big body coming at your leader while also having the ability to pretty much have super easy removal against any card, any character card. So you can't have both. You can't have a character card that has super big body attack against the leader while also having a really good ability. So he's mostly utility. He's a big body utility that gets rid of one character card. So I hope that seems somewhat balanced. So you can get rid of Big Moms, right? And which is ironic because I play Katakuri. I'm a big yellow guy, so I play Big Mom, which is my biggest body. You can get rid of Big Moms. You can get rid of anything that can KO this card in battle, right? So it's also balanced because if you KO him through effects, the effect doesn't go off, or you get to send something back. So you can Red Rock this guy. You still have options to get rid of him from the board. That doesn't let them also benefit of you removing a big body, or your opponent removing a big body. So he doesn't benefit if he gets... the only way he benefits when he leaves the board is if he's KO'd in battle. And that's if the attacking card KOs it and you get to return it back to the owner's hand. So I feel like this is balanced in some type of way, to where it's only character aggression and it's very utility based. So I just felt like that's a good way to balance it. So next up is an event card called Divine Departure. And I don't know if we already have a Divine Departure in the game. I don't know every single card in the card game as of right now. As of right now, EBO 1 has came out, right? And we finally got Purple's Red Rock, and we finally got Yellow's Red Rock. As far as I know, Red and Green are the only ones that are missing their own Red Rock. So Red I gave to Divine Departure because Red, as aggressive Red is, I feel like it's fair that every color gets their own version of Red Rock where you can get rid of any card on the field. Any character card anyway. But this is a very conditional Red Rock. Since it's Divine Departure, I made it to where it's unique only to Roger. Because if you don't know, I do want Roger in the game. We still have yet to get anything with Roger besides Crocus. We don't even have Rayleigh yet. We don't even know if Rayleigh's coming out in set 8. I would really like to see Roger get more stuff. Hopefully he gets more stuff in future sets. So I would really like to see Divine Departure, a Red Rock for Red, be like this, where it can only be played if you have a Goldie Roger in play. You KO one of your opponent's character cards, even if they can negate KO effects. So an example would be like Borsalino, right? Borsalino, the 4-drop blocker that can't be KO'd by effects. Since it's Divine Departure, and Roger was such a strong pirate, and he was the king of the pirates, and he can face up against people who had Devil Fruits, I feel like this Red Rock that can ignore KO effects, that can ignore characters that can negate KO effects, it can still go off. I felt like, that's balanced. It's conditional Red Rock, and it's only for Roger. And the reason why I came up with this card is because I actually came up with a Roger card that you'll see next. And here is the Roger card. I forgot to change the name. It's supposed to be Goldie Roger. If you can't tell, I made these two back to back. I just forgot to change the name from Divine Departure. So this is Goldie Roger, right? He would be the 10k. He would be the 10 drop, but he has 14k because he was the king of the pirates. He was one of the strongest pirates. He took down Roxy Zebek. He was strong, a little bit stronger, but still on par with Whitebeard, literally called the strongest man in the world. So I felt like him having 14k only seemed right. And even though he's not a slash trait, he's special, right? He's the king of the pirates. But he's 14k because he has in my opinion, I think I gave him a balanced card effect. So the first thing you can see on this card is you can only play this card if you have already played the effects of the One Piece. You'll see that card next because that is the final card that I made for this video. We'll get into that when we get to it. He has an on-play ability where you search your deck for a Divine Departure, which is the card we saw earlier. You get to play it automatically. So on play, you get to play the conditional Red Rock. So it only makes sense. It's Roger's move. You play Roger, you get to use it. So I felt like that was fair. I didn't want to give him Rush like most Red has. Red is known for aggression and Rush. I didn't think it'd be fair to give a 10-drop 14k Rush. I didn't think that'd be fair. So I gave him an ability that lets him play his move to get rid of one character on the field. He also has the ability, when this card is targeted for an attack, the attacking card gets minus 4k for the turn. Because it's Roger. Roger was literally on par with the strongest man in the world. So it's only fair that he's able to minus 4k to an attacking card. Now, I was thinking about making this once per turn, right? But the end of turn ability is why I didn't make it once per turn. So the reason why it's not once per turn is because the end of turn ability that I gave him, where at the end of every turn, this card loses 2k power if it attacked this turn. So every time you attack with this card, it loses 2k power. So the more times you attack with it, it gets weaker and weaker, just like Roger did because he died to a sickness. Or he didn't die to a sickness, but he was sick, right? He was sick. He got executed from the Marines. So he didn't die through the sickness, but he did have the sickness that was making him weaker. So just like in the show, his end of turn ability where he loses more power over time. That's why I didn't make the first part once per turn, because it kind of loses its aggression, and Red's known for its aggression. Also, if you haven't known Divine Departure, and this Goldie Roger card I made is a new archetype. It'd be, of course, Roger Pirates, and then this would be the only card with King of the Pirates until Luffy actually finds the One Piece and becomes King of the Pirates. So he'd be the first card with the King of the Pirates archetype. But yeah, back to the abilities now. That's why this ability I gave him will never be once per turn. Hopefully we see something like this. Again, this is just cards I would like to see in the One Piece card game. If they do make it, it probably won't be exactly like how I made it. I just tried making the cards with effects reasonable as best I could, and relating it to the color and the shtick, its gimmick that the color's known for. So Red is known for aggression. That's why I gave him these stats. Not to mention it relates to the character itself. He can minus 4k to cards that attack it. Since it's not once per turn, I gave him the ability end of turn he loses 2k power. You have to nerf the goats of the anime in some type of way, just like how Whitebeard, you had to strike yourself every time because he also was dying of a sickness. That's why he kept losing life. This character, you lose attack power, so it relates to the show as well. And now on to the final card that I would really like to see, and not only me, I can say for sure people are expecting the One Piece as a card. Now, we don't know what the One Piece is, right? So I had to find an art that would make sense for it. So, of course, I chose Roger laughing. If anything, right, the only cards we get as manga rares are of characters. I would like to see an event card as a manga rare, and I feel like the One Piece as an event card would make the perfect manga rare. Now, you see it as red, but actually, the custom card maker that I use on the website doesn't have a rainbow selection. The One Piece would be a rainbow card, similar to the Rainbow Leader Luffy. It would be the first rainbow card, unless they make one before they make the One Piece card. It'd be the first rainbow card that's a 10-drop event. Of course, anyone can use it, right? Any color could use it because everyone's searching for the One Piece. So any color can use it. So the One Piece, I tried to make reasonable and somewhat understandable and make somewhat sense to the show as well as the card game. So Of course, you can only have one copy of this card in your deck, right? It's the One Piece. For the effects, it's both you and your opponent trash characters on the board until you only have one. Then you and your opponent can only have one character on the board at a time for the rest of the game. I felt like that only makes sense because, you know, people are fighting for the One Piece. And when it comes down to it, what are we going to see in the anime? We're going to see Luffy fight one guy for the One Piece. Most likely it's going to be Whitebeard. Maybe it's going to be someone from the Navy. We don't know. It's going to be a 1v1. It has to be. You're fighting for the One Piece. So it's going to be a 1v1 for character cards, right? Not to mention you also have your leader swing. So it's technically not a 1v1, but you can't really deal with leaders. I also wanted to make it reasonable. So that's why you can only have one character for the rest of the game for both you and your opponent. However, you also trash cards from both yours and your opponent's life until you have one. It's the One Piece. It's gonna come down to wits, and it's gonna come down to pure strength and strategy. So you only have one life left. You technically have 2 hits left. With the One Piece, it's gonna be like that in the show as well. It only makes sense that the One Piece is a interesting event card. Not to mention, it also has a special ability. The only card that can exceed this card's character limit is Gold D. Roger. So that's why I made this character card only be played after you've played the event card of the One Piece. That's why I gave him the 14k as well, because not only would he be the strongest card in the game, attack power wise, you can only play this strong card after you've played this card. I felt like that would balance these two in a certain type of way. Maybe I could work on it. You know, if you have suggestions, let me know. That'd be pretty interesting. But yeah, so if you played this card right, you and your opponent can only have one character card for the rest of the game on the board at a time. But if you have Goldie Roger, you can play him. So yeah, it only makes sense because Roger was the one who found the One Piece, and they laughed. So yeah, I felt like Goldie Roger wouldn't be a nice exception to exceeding the card limit effect, the character card limit effect, because it was Roger that found the One Piece. So yeah, again, this is supposed to be a rainbow card. It's going to cost 10 because it's the One Piece. It relates to the show in some type of way. People are trying to find it. You can only have one of it because it's literally called the One Piece. In the end, it's going to come down to one person fighting another person for it. Because it's Luffy, right, trying to find it, become the king of the pirates, but he'll have an opposition, so it's going to be a 1v1. Most likely it'll be Whitebeard, or Blackbeard, sorry. So, yeah. The One Piece. And if you can't tell as well, I made the archetype Joy Boy. So, it'd be the first card with Joy Boy as an archetype. Because I was thinking about making the archetype One Piece, but, not really useful, because if it was archetyped One Piece, it's the only card in the game that has One Piece as an archetype. I guess you could say the same for Joy Boy as well. I mean, who knows, maybe we will get a Joy Boy card if they ever show him in the anime or the manga. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I don't want it to get on too long, but hopefully, you know, you found this video interesting, make you speculate on cards we could get in the future, make you want to, you know, make cards of your own that you would like to see in the card game, like I did with this video. Like, especially Buster Call. I would like to see Buster Call as one and Roger as one, because we still have yet to get Roger in anything. So, you know, it only seems right to get Roger as a card soon, since he's the one who kicked off the show, making everyone trying to find the grand treasure. So, yeah, again, that'll be it for this video. Don't want it to be too long. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in whatever I make next.